So you may have seen my video yesterday where I was talking about AMD's plan to launch some new GPUs. Now, to be clear, this is not officially confirmed by AMD, but we have several leaks and they're from fairly reliable sources pointing to the RX 6500 XT and the RX 6400 coming out in Q1 2022. And I was heavily critical of one of the rumored specs. 4 gigabytes of VRAM. Now, I actually want to possibly revise my opinion on that. I still feel like 4 gigabytes of VRAM is not great. If you have to turn down some textures are usually a great way to get some free visual upgrade in a game. And what I mean by free here is that as long as you have enough VRAM, usually having the texture settings turned up has little to no performance impact in terms of your frame rate in the game. So oftentimes, if a GPU has enough VRAM, but is a little bit weak for the actual processing of the other effects in the game, you can often get a good balance in terms of image quality and performance by running textures up at the ultra settings, whereas you turn down a lot of other settings down to low or medium. But if you only have 4 gigabytes of VRAM, even at 1080p, you might struggle to run at the highest quality of textures in some of the modern games. So why would AMD do this? Well, is this a huge mistake? Is this greed? Or is this possibly a 200 IQ play? It was pointed out to me in my comment section, and then I researched this because I'm not heavily into crypto. We all know that there's a ton of factors affecting the prices of GPUs right now. It is actually true that component costs and shipping and all tariffs, all sorts of things related to the pandemic, all of that have driven up the cost of supplies and actually just getting GPUs manufactured and shipped and sold. So that is true, that is part of it, but as many people will point out, another huge part of it right now is Ethereum. I mean, crypto in general, but specifically Ethereum mining is the main one that is still mined on GPUs, and all of us actual gamers that don't do crypto are hoping for that proof of stake to really happen in the near future, where we should see that that ETH hopefully dies as a GPU mining thing. Although, guys, if you want a little side note on this, in my opinion, there will probably just be another crypto that gets mined on GPUs that gets invented, or one that already exists will become more popular as people who want to mine crypto on their GPUs will just shift to something else and start pumping it on social media and whatever. But anyway, so I'm not super hopeful that we're going to see that die off if we ever actually get this shift to proof of stake. But for the point of this video, right now, Ethereum mining is one of the main things that's making GPUs so expensive. This is related, I always see these comments when people talk about GPU pricing. Always people who are like, gamers should never buy at these prices. And honestly, if you don't want to, fine. But they're acting as if it's like, if gamers will boycott the GPU market at these prices, that we're gonna see the prices come down. But guys, if this is really being driven by crypto miners, as soon as the prices come down on cards, more crypto miners will just buy them, because it's not like crypto miners only want one GPU to mine on. A lot of them will just continue to buy them up as long as a certain cost calculation is met. If they think that they can pay for the GPU and then some and the electricity by mining crypto at that hash rate and the value of the currency, right, they're just gonna buy those up anyway. So what I'm getting at here is that crypto mining is a massive impact on the pricing of GPUs. So why could a 4 gigabyte GPU be a 200 IQ move from AMD? Well, you can't mine Ethereum on a 4 gigabyte GPU, at least as far as I can tell. Like I said, I'm not an expert on this, but I saw that comment in my comment section, researched it a little bit, and that does seem to be true as of late, right? This could be a recent development. Like I said, I'm not a huge part of that scene. So if AMD is not only able to save component costs because the price of memory has gone way up. So if this would have been an 8 GB card, but they've cut it back to 4, that does save on the manufacturing costs, and that can translate to the MSRP and hopefully to the end consumer. But again, that wouldn't translate to the end consumer if this was a mining card, because if it's the cheapest card out there and it can mine, especially if it doesn't draw a lot of power, which looks like a place we might be here, these could have been good mining cards. But if you cap that at 4 GB and you can't mine on them, does that mean that only gamers would actually target these cards? And then high-end gamers, the ones who are willing to spend a lot of money on a GPU right now, are probably not going to target a 4 GB 1080p medium settings gaming card. And that's what these are. So what I'm getting at is, could we actually see these GPUs not only have better supply because they don't need lots of VRAM to be produced, better prices because they don't need a lot of VRAM to be produced, I mean better MSRP, but then actually stay closer to that MSRP because they're not going to be bought up by miners. So in this market, I'm actually really curious what you guys think. Now, first of all, am I wrong? Do you know more about crypto than me? Are these still going to be mineable anyway? From my research, it looks like no, at least for the main Ethereum mining methods that I looked into here. Also, do you think this is worth it? Would you be willing to, sacrifice, maybe you're playing on high textures instead of ultra textures on the 4 GB card, but it means you actually got the 4 GB card for a reasonable price. Could we get these in at sub $200? That would be amazing. Not amazing in terms of prices a year and a half ago, but amazing in terms of prices that we're seeing right now. Can you even buy a new GPU? I mean, people, I just saw a Black Friday deal. This wasn't even a deal. It was just a GPU went on stock for like a 6600 XT for around the $550 mark. I mean, that thing sold out on Newegg in 2 minutes. So, I mean, those are not GPUs that used to cost that high, right? So if we actually saw an entry level, I can game at 1080p, 60 FPS, ultra settings in less demanding games, and, medium to high settings in the more demanding, newer games. If we saw that come in at around $200 or less, which again, I don't have any official pricing info, but I'm just like, that'd be awesome, then that would be fantastic in my opinion, because some people at that low end, they just want a GPU, especially if you just want it for esports or something like that, then you'd probably be turning settings down anyway, and you don't actually need more than 4 GB. There's a lot of places where these GPUs could make a lot of sense at these settings. Also, just as a bit of a side note, some people are like, well, why not 6 GB? Well, for one thing, 6 GB is, again, now going to be Ethereum mineable, okay? Also, a lot of people don't understand that, a lot of people do, I read my comment section, but a lot of people don't, that there's limits to how you can adjust the VRAM on a card given the actual architecture of the chip. So a lot of times, if you can do 4, you could do 8. But you can't do 6, just due to how the memory works. And I'm not gonna go into some big diagram of how that works, and I'm also not gonna even pretend that I fully understand every detail of it. But generally, you can do 4 or you can do 8 because you can double the capacity on the spots that you have, but you can't chunk it out in just any way. You can't just pick a number and assign that much VRAM to the card without changing other things about the card and the way its memory system works, okay? All right, what do you guys think? Let me know in the comment section, and I hope all of you have an excellent day.